Before we get started, you know domaintools.com, right? I can type whois.sc/domain name really fast, and I do it daily, but until recently, I didn't know how powerful their other tools were. If I want a domain name, I can set a free alert to notify me when it changes status. If it goes to auction, I can use their sales history tool to find comps and determine my maximum bid price. If I buy it and develop the domain name into a business, I can set up alerts for any domains registered that contain my trademark, and I can set up registrant alerts of all my competitors so I can keep an eye on what domains they're buying and know what they're up to before they make any announcements. Domaintools.com needs to be in your toolbox like it's in mine. Go sign up for an account on domaintools.com today. My second sponsor is David E. Westlow at Wiley Rhine. Imagine having a legal issue like a UDRP or a cease and desist. Imagine having to get an agreement put together quickly for buying or selling a domain name. And imagine going to your family lawyer who just doesn't get it, or one of the expensive law firms in your city who are going to invoice you for thousands upon thousands of dollars. Then imagine going to David E. Westlow, who will understand your domain name portfolio and your intellectual property assets, understand the domain name environment, and be able to help you out quickly. David E. Westlow. I recommend him. I trust him. I suggest you give him a call. Your initial consultation is free. David E. Westlow at Wiley Rhine. Finally, our newest sponsor is Protrata, the domain exchange. Protrata is an amazing new platform for professional domainers and newcomers alike. Protrata makes trading domain names easy. With just a few clicks, you can analyze, bid, buy, and sell domains across all of the major marketplaces, including Namejet, GoDaddy, SnapNames, and Craigslist. You can also develop stagnating domains you own into great-looking, content-rich, socially active websites that will rank at Google and Bing. This tool is more comprehensive than any other I've seen. If you only use it for its 21 powerful buying filters, you'll get your money's worth. Get your free 14-day trial now at protrata.com. Protrada.com. Here's your program. Hey everyone, my name is Michael Seiger and I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com, the domain name authority and the place where you can learn how to become a domain name entrepreneur directly from the experts themselves. On Monday, June 20th, 2011, ICANN approved plans to make sweeping changes to the domain name industry as we know it, increasing the number of generic top-level domains from the current 22 to potentially hundreds within the next few years. I interviewed David Westlow, who was following the proceedings live. I interviewed Juan Calais, founder and CEO of the .co domain, who shared many lessons learned from the successful launch of that TLD. But what I have yet to do is help entrepreneurs figure out how to navigate the ICANN new gTLD application process. Joining us today to talk about this new process is Michael Berkens, co-founder and managing director at Right of the Dot, an internet consulting and advisement firm specializing in new and existing TLD strategy, board advisement, premium domain and market positioning, sales, and services. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Michael.
Michael, you're not just a consultant, you're an avid domain investor yourself. How many domain names do you currently own and in what TLDs?
We currently own about 75,000 domains. Vast majority are .coms, well over 95%. Own some .nets, some .orgs, some .mes and .tvs, some .cos. Mm-hmm. That would probably be the only ones we have any major amount of domains in.
Okay. And the new TLDs that are going to be launched can be whatever people want to apply for. What do you think the most popular TLDs will be in terms of competing applications?
The generics, the bang-on generic words and terms, things like cars or .insurance or a variation thereof, or .real estate, things that are very sellable on a registry level.
Okay, so is it fair to say that some of the most premium, say .com domain names that have been registered, the highest value ones, those are prime to be extended into their own top-level domain?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it would have to be a category that would have, obviously be rich in subdomains.
Mm-hmm.
So things like, .casino or .poker, would be very valuable. The geos will be very valuable. .nycs,
Mm-hmm.
the .paris, .berlins, they should be very valuable as well. And then basically there'll be brand domains. So you might see .ebay or .apple or .microsoft. Some of those will be open extensions where they will try to let customers have access to domains, and some will be closed extensions where they're just going to use them for in-house for marketing and business and advertising purposes.
Okay, and I'm going to come back to that to ask you a little bit more in-depth questions about why companies might want to do that. But let me take a step back and say ICANN said they expected anywhere from, I think, 300 to 1,000 applications in the next year. You have reported on your own blog, thedomains.com, recently that MarkMonitor and VeriSign expect between 1,000 and 1,500 applications. How many applications do you think ICANN will actually see?
I predicted originally about 500. ICANN's budgeted 500 into the new gTLD program. Mm-hmm. But I think there is a possibility of hitting 1,000, depending on the brands. It's really, it's going to be brand driven to that level of domain applications. And that, of course, is just in the first round. Mm-hmm. The first round opens applications on January 12th, closes on April 12th of next year. And those applications are going to get processed over a period of probably several years. And we don't know when the second round will open up, but it's probably not anytime soon.
Okay. So you said that the applications are going to be processed over the period of several years. I'd actually heard or read someplace that the newest TLDs could be live as soon as early 2013. Is that, but some of them may take longer? How does that shake out?
Well, it's going to it's going to shake out because there's going to be some extensions that are going to be bang on, not disputable. For example, say a .ebay, mm-hmm. A brand application like that there really can be no real objection to by anybody. Can't be objected to by the trademark holders, most likely. Isn't going to be sought by anybody else. So it's sort of straight through generic to brand application that should sail through fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. They certainly have the business, financial profit sheets. It's a public company, so they'll easily meet all of those requirements. And all of the sort of hurdles that you have to get through in the application phase, they should get through fairly quickly. So it's possible that you could possibly see some of these live in late 2012.
Okay.
But then there's other strings that are going to take longer because they're either going to be objected to possibly by trademark holders. They may be objected to by governments. There may be applications that some people are going to put in on generics as a community, which is something else we can chat about. But basically, .music and .gay have both expressed they're going to apply as a community. Mm-hmm. You can expect objections from third parties to that. So anytime there's objections, like in anything else, it's going to delay the proceedings and delay a decision.
Right.
So if there's contention for a string, if there's two or more bidders, that's going to have to get worked out. That's going to delay the string being, awarded and start to be resolved. So you may see some go live in late 2012, and it may take a couple of years on some of these other ones that are highly contested or sought after or have a lot of contention. And I think that's all spelled out in the guidebook.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are you personally applying for a new TLD yourself or as part of another business venture?
No, we're not going to be applying for a TLD.
Okay.
Right, the doc may take some small equity positions in the TLD in return for services, mm-hmm. But we are not applying ourselves.
Okay. Great. So what I want to do is I want to help businesses that are maybe thinking about applying for a brand or entrepreneurs that are maybe thinking about applying for a generic TLD themselves, learn some basics about the process, learn about how to apply for it. Clearly, they can go read the guidebook, but not everybody has access to an expert like you in the domain industry that is doing consulting on this. So I want to help people figure out how to move in the right direction. So that's what we'll spend some time focused on.
Okay, great.
A company called Urban Brains said that they're going to launch .site, and they're going to target it at internet users, hobbyists, and business owners. And I'm sure there's a host of other companies, organizations out there that have done similar things. They've said that they're going to launch one. They've put up a website. Is just making an announcement and putting up a website the most that someone can do right now?
It's questionable. I mean, as in what regard? I guess I'm not following. Most that they can do in attempt to do what? What are they trying to accomplish by putting up?
I guess that's my question to you. I'm not sure why people would make this public announcement that they're going to launch a new TLD. You know, I think there's a website up that's tracking all the people that are saying they're going to launch new TLDs. Why announce it at all? Why not just put out their application?
Well, it's a business strategy. You know, there's various reasons you might want to come forward and say that you're going to apply for an extension. You know, one of the most obvious ones is you know, to scare away other competitors. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're a fairly large organization, well established with really good funding, it may deter others from, you know, going in and applying for, let's use your example of .site. So that would certainly be one reason for coming out front. Another reason would be if they're looking to raise some money and investors, they may want to have, or at least appear to have, a bigger market presence. Mm-hmm. And stronger, and you know, thereby gives investors some more reason to invest. So there's various reasons for coming out front. The only other, you know, really good reason would be is if you were trying to go in as a community, like a .gay or .music, and you want to build up, you know, basically a huge base of support to people and organizations. So then it would be very helpful to come out front. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you know, apart from the community application, there's no real reason to come out front at this point in time.
Okay.
And I think the vast majority of companies that are considering applying for gTLD are not out front.
Right. Okay. And so that sounds like there's sort of three general categories of organizations that are going to apply. You've got the brands like the .ibm or .ebay. You've got the communities like the .gay or the .music. And then you've got individual companies that are just going after a niche like .site or .credit or, you know, something like that from a company basis. Is that right?
Yes, except that community is really based for communities, like geographic communities. So going back to your cities again, cities like New York and Berlin and Paris, they have been very upfront saying that they are going to apply for their own extension. Mm-hmm. That's really what community is about. There are some other companies that are trying to use that community, because the thing about the community is if you can prove you have the community, then you get the extension for your application fee and the other costs, but it doesn't wind up going to an auction, which is most likely for most of the better generic domains. So if you can prove community, you get the application. So New York City, if they want New York City or that NYC, they basically just have to, you know, sign off on it and they get it. They don't have to go through an auction process. And a much quicker process at that, assuming that the community is, you know, recognized by, you know, pretty much doesn't draw any objections, let's put it that way.
Right.
So using that theory of the cities and the communities, there's other applications like .music and .gay that are going to seek to apply as a community, but it's very questionable as to whether or not ICANN is going to allow any of those to fly in as communities.
Yeah. And if they apply, if .gay or .music apply under the communities,